Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Tuesday. This is Game Day Live, coming to you live from J. Fallon's Tap Room on Long Island, New York. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Vinnie, Parise of pucksandpitchforks.com, USA Today, and the hockey news out in Chicago, Illinois, as we're streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, Twitch, and now on Instagram Live on the Let's Go Devils Network. As the Devils, well, it's game 43. Get it? Game 43 against the New York Islanders at UBS Arena. How are you, Vinnie? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Sam. Maybe it's an omen that it's game number 43. We're officially into the second half of the season, and it'd be really nice to see number 43 himself go out there and have a good day today. So I'm with you.
Yeah, great day. It's a great day to be here. We made it. We made it to Jay Fallon's Tap House. I've got sliders. I was promising not to, have it on and wings and all that here. We're having a great time. All of our bus buddies, so to speak, are all here. So it's just a great time. People are asking, how was the bus trip? Well, that's a story in itself. Maybe I'll save it for the morning woo. I'm not. Yeah, we'll save it for the morning woo because let me tell you, cliffhanger, it was quite an adventure to get here. Quite an adventure to get here.
And that's just all the more incentive to watch the morning woo. You make sure you tune in. You'll find out exactly what happened with the magical bus ride to Jay Fallon's Tap on Long Island.
Yeah. Well, maybe just give a hint. The bus actually broke down before we got started. That's all I have to say. But other than that,
better than halfway through.
Yeah. But we got a great crowd here, actually, and everybody was cool about it. Everyone's like, these things happen. And so we actually wound up driving here ourselves. But now we're at the restaurant with the unlimited food for 90 minutes, an open bar. I got this. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to eat it anyway, Vinny.
That's how we do
Some
it.
kind of chicken. Yeah. And I can't even chew it on live air, but anyway, why don't you go ahead, Vinny, as I'm chewing?
Yeah, so the New Jersey Devils are taking on the New York Islanders, who have, kind of been up and down this season, but a lot of up. This rookie Matthew Schaefer that they have, number 1 overall pick in the 2025 NHL draft, has come into the league and been better than anybody expected. I mean, the kid played 10 games last season. He was injured for a lot of the year. Nobody knew if he was going to go number 1 overall. The Islanders, in a way, took a risk taking him first overall. Just as Sam Wu is taking a risk eating a French fry on live air. And it has worked out for them. I don't like to throw the G word around in hockey. I think we use the G word way too much. In my brain, there's 4 active generational players in the NHL. Crosby, Ovechkin, McDavid, and Makar. Those are the 4 generational players that exist in the NHL right now. You think of the guys in their prime, Stamkos, Patrick Kane, Evgeny Malkin. Those are all-time great Hall of Famers, but the generational, I don't know. But Matthew Schaefer, at 18 years old, the G word popped in my head while watching him against the Toronto Maple Leafs a couple nights ago. It really did. He's sensational. So if the Devils are going to beat the Islanders today, they're going to want, Nico Hischier in his shadows. They're going to want Brett Pesce in his shadows. He is hard to contain. I saw him in person a couple nights ago at the United Center playing against the Chicago Blackhawks. He is as fast and as sensational in person as he is on TV. So for those of you fortunate enough to be at the game, maybe you're at Jay Fallon's Tap Room, it's incredible. So, really got to watch out for this kid when the Devils are playing the Islanders.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Vinny, by the way, the sliders are good. I do want to answer a question from somebody in the YouTube Live asking if it's a prime rib sandwich, LOL. It might as well be. This is like the best slider I've ever had. It's really good.
Wow.
Here's a zoom in. Yeah. Yeah, there are vegetables inside. You just don't see it. But
Sure.
Joey B is asking, does Sam Wu take the red lamp helmet to Long Island tonight? It's actually in my car because of the whole snafu. I actually drove here, so it's actually in my car. But where was that question? I lost that question in the... Well, we'll get to that later. But you want to talk about generational players. Matthew Schaefer is shaping up to be. I'm not going to say the G word, but I'm shaping up to having one of historical rookie seasons thus far. And I don't want to jinx him because I love seeing this kind of stuff, but he's really good.
Yeah. I mean, could I see a world where in 5 years he's the best or second best defenseman in the NHL? Yeah, I could. I really could. He's unbelievable. He's kind of changed the Islanders franchise around in a way that we haven't seen for the Islanders. Like, I know they had Tavares. I know they had, back-to-back years where they were in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and you could make a case they would have won at least one Stanley Cup had they won one of those Game 7s, or both. The Islanders, for better or worse, in the 2010s and 2020s, have been like a good franchise. After a pretty long sustained era of irrelevance before that. And Tavares leaves, goes to Toronto. They somehow get better, and then they fall off a little bit the last 2 or 3 years after those back-to-back Game 7s in the conference finals. Last year they get lucky, move up 10 spots, get Matthew Schaefer, and now they're right back in the mix. So it's going to be interesting seeing how they move forward with this, because I do believe they got a long way to go. I wonder if Matthew Schaefer will hit a sophomore slump at any point. But like you said, it's hard to throw around the G word. But so far, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, well, when you take a look at some of the stats, an 18-year-old defenseman, first year in the league, you're talking about names about Bobby Orr. Who else was on that list as well? The amount of goals. He's within range, if he plays a full season, to surpass and maybe demolish some of these records. And how he's doing it is amazing. I mean, he's doing it in the clutch, Matthew Schaefer. I mean, he's, you're down 2-1. Okay, no problem. I'll score, or I'll be a part of a scoring play. But in overtime, the kid's like elusive. Kind of reminds me of I don't know. He's got some Jack Hughes moves to him.
Yeah, and when he got that puck on his stick in overtime, I had no doubt in my mind he was going to freaking roof it and, end the game for the New York Islanders. It was so Toronto Maple Leafs to let that game slip away when Austin Matthews does something so special, breaking Matt Sundin record for the most goals in franchise history, and then you let Matthew Schaefer score twice in the same game. He did go a little cold points-wise. Schaefer did, kind of going into that Blackhawks game that I was at. I think he had 1 point in his previous 9 games going into that game. Gets a couple assists against the Blackhawks, and he's been red hot since again. So, whatever little point slump he was in. But here's the thing about Schaefer, though, which you don't get from offensive defensemen, even when they're 28 years old, let alone, 18, 19. He defends so well. He is not a liability out there. You have a hard time scoring goals yourself when he's on the ice. Normally you tell me there's this great offensive defenseman who's 18 years old and he's putting up a lot of points. I would assume they play more of a riverboat gambler style of play. That's just not the case with Schaefer. He defends as well as he produces offense. So to be that good, that young, it makes me wonder really how scary he's going to be 5, 6, 7 years from now.
Yeah, and Serve reminded us a Schaefer story about his mom passing away, and sad, very inspirational, and he cried on draft day. Who wouldn't? Matthew Schaefer, and you just can't help. He's like he's kind of like Cale Makar. Like you gotta want to root for him. You want to root for him, and especially with that story. But speaking of rooting for defensemen, Luke Hughes, game 43. A lot has been said in the media the past 48 hours after that game against the Carolina Hurricanes. And, Vinnie, I never got your opinion on it. I've been speaking about it, voiced my opinion, and also taking other opinions from the other point of view about the booing. But I just want to hear what your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't think that's going to be too surprising for anyone who knows me, has followed me, to hear. I would never boo one individual player for something hockey related, especially someone who you have a lot vested in. You got to think about what is the deal with Luke Hughes. First of all, he makes $9 million a year for the next 7 years. The Devils have a lot of resources, money, time, effort spent into developing him and paying him, and he's Jack Hughes' younger brother. And Quinn was just traded to Minnesota. Don't think Bill Guerin isn't licking his chops seeing the Devils fans just boo Luke Hughes all the time. Be careful what you wish for. Elliot Friedman said it on the 32 Thoughts podcast. Luke Hughes is 22 years old. Being Matthew Schaefer is rare. Rare isn't even the right word. It's borderline impossible. A lot of guys playing in the NHL at 22 years old, let alone 18, but playing in the NHL at 22 years old as a defenseman was unheard of even 5 years ago. You had to go to college. You had to play in the AHL. You had to develop your game. Luke Hughes is doing all of that at the NHL level, and he produces points in the meantime. He does. That's a fact. He scores game-winning goals like he did on New Year's Eve. You can't skate the puck in front of the net with Taylor Hall forechecking the way that he did. You can't try clearing the puck through the crease. It'll go in the net sometimes. You have to be smarter with the way you defend, with the way you attack. Those things can't happen, but show him a little compassion, and he didn't do it on purpose. I just don't think booing him is a good reflection of Devils fans. I do think it was a little misguided. People are angry with the team as a whole, and if Brett Pesce, who's by all accounts been a good defensive defenseman as a Devil, if he would have made those same two mistakes, they would have booed him. The fan base is looking for something to boo. It's been a rough year since the injury started to pile up. You can only hope that Luke learned from it in terms of his hockey sense, doesn't hold a grudge, and everybody moves on happy and healthy moving forward.
And I think the message of booing was really not towards Luke Hughes specifically. If you're going to boo entire game, I think it was more of upper management towards Tom Fitzgerald. And I said this on the Morning Woo. It's quite obvious. Luke Hughes earned my respect when he sat there like a man, like a mature adult, and took the questions from the media where he could have copped out. He didn't. And then to have Nico Hischier talk to the media first, he was not scheduled, according to Manstein, to even talk to the media, but actually talk to the press. Then they talk to Luke. It's his captain having his back, saying, stand by Luke. They stand by Luke. And then Luke does the interview. It was authentic. He was about to bawl his eyes out. All that, you couldn't help but feel bad. I know a lot of people are talking about $9 million AAV. There's a time and place for that, but for now, I'm very proud of him that he actually took questions, because if he didn't take questions, I'd be a little leery, of what's going on. But I think, honestly, the booing was all misguided, and I think it was more towards Tom Fitzgerald, because we were dragged through that whole Quinn Hughes trade, saga. And we have high expectations. And you give Luke Hughes $9 million AAV for the next 7 years. Again, I call it tough love. We saw what happened with Lindy Ruff. Winnie solves everything. They went from fire Lindy to sorry Lindy in a matter of 3 weeks. Even I took a beating on social media for sticking up for Lindy Ruff. And then I took my victory lap 3 weeks later, answering every single tweet that went against me. And we're talking about 300 of them, Vinny. But I think Luke has the ability to turn around, so I'm not worried. I just hope that the damage isn't so great where Billy from Minnesota would be taking notes.
Absolutely. I do think you make a good point about him speaking to the media. That is encouraging. He's not mad. He gets it. He took accountability. We've seen Jack take accountability for things in the past. The Hughes brothers in their, especially Jack, they can come off cocky. They know they're good. They know they have supreme talent that very few players in the world have. But they take accountability for their actions, and I respect Luke. I respect the crap out of Nico Hischier, too. He didn't have to do anything that he did, and he did. He's a captain. He's just a true and true captain. The way he plays, the way he talks off the ice. Nico Hischier is a great dude. I'm very happy that he's the New Jersey Devils captain. So you move on. You play the New York Islanders. You're on the road. You're on a home away from home type of game in terms of geography. So the best medicine for everything in sports is to find ways to win.
Right.
Yeah, and the person that interviewed Nico Hischier is actually sitting a couple chairs to my right. Danielle McCartan interviewed Nico, and he actually talked about trying to extract that whole thing about Connor Brown. What did he say in that second intermission? And but when you listen to the interview, even Nico admitted that he's not very vocal leader, but what he did with the press in the locker room after the game, after all that booing, Nico Hischier stepped up as a captain and had his team's back. That goes a long way in the locker room. You're talking the locker room. There's a lot of things that stay in the locker room. There's a lot of things. There's a dynamic there. Nico Hischier, and again, just like Luke, the respect level went up 2 notches because a captain that's not vocal was vocal at the right time, and that was that time.
Absolutely. I'm totally with you. So it's good to see him get out there and, stand up for his teammate. That's what you like to see from guys, especially when the going gets tough. The Devils are still in this. They can rattle off. I've been saying it for a couple shows. And they did win 2 in a row before coming into that last game, the second half of a back-to-back against Carolina, who's been a thorn in their side. From a hockey point of view, okay, they lost 3-1 to Carolina. Come out here tonight and have a good showing against the Islanders. Every team in the East is just a couple wins away from, being on a nice run that gets them above the playoff line.
Yeah, and we're getting to that part of the show. We want your predictions. The Tuesday night predictions for this game, Devils at the Islanders. Get them on the social media. I'm going to jump around because I've been on the YouTube Live. There's a lot of comments, Vinny, but I want to check our new Instagram Live. We have some people tuning in. Alexis, West Coast Deaf Fan. I can't read. Jay Carroll and Bolt.
But I can't read.
Hello to Insta. I can't read, and I drove here. Can you believe that?
Yeah, roads are dangerous. Let people like you who can't read out there.
Yeah, but you got to do what you got to do. Remember when I was talking about on the morning woo, bulldogging it? This is how you bulldog it. You figure it out.
Bulldogging it.
Figure it out.
Yep.
It could have been, you got to bulldog it. So, but we got some scores. Select Away says 4-3 Devils. 6-3 Islanders, says Dak for Hansen. Again, a lot of people going with reverse psychology. Michael Hay, Devils win 3-2 in overtime. Luke gets the game winner. RME says 3-2 Devils in overtime. Pod Legend says 4-3 Devils in overtime. Sammy, Vinny, any 80s hard rock fans here? I'm one. I'm definitely one. Devils
Absolutely.
take it 4-2. Also, your mom commented how great the food looks here at Jay Fallon's.
And she would love Long Island. Very confident in that.
Oh, totally. 4-1 Devils, says Jay Snow. Roman says 4-2 Devils. Yes, Roman is my enforcer protector because I had to deal with a male Karen in Section 18 the other day. Yeah. Did I tell you that story?
No.
No. All right. I'll tell you off air. Anyway, Vinny, what's your prediction?
I think the New Jersey Devils take down the New York Islanders 4-3.
Is that reverse psychology? Or you really think that?
I really think that. They're not a bad hockey team.
Well,
They're a above average hockey team that has below average luck, who are coming off a way below average terrible game.
wow. So
That Utah game was magnificent.
Yeah.
I never really
was.
got to talk about it because I was off on Sunday. They
Yeah.
They were magnificent against the Utah Mammoth. Play like that and you win. It's 75% of your games.
Yeah. Let's see here. Seagot says 2-1 Devils in a shootout. Wifey says 3-2 OT. I say 4-1 Devils, says RME. Serve says 3-1 Devils. Wasted Youth Caper 4-3 Devils in regulation. Hello from Sydney, Nova Scotia. Lisa says I love New York. Interesting. We got to get your mom out here one day on a trip.
I know.
Because her BFF, Mrs. Wu, will have the red carpet treatment when she comes out. Definitely.
Absolutely. Definitely. And, yeah, we would have to go to New York,
yep.
Obviously New Jersey. Yeah, for sure.
And Devil's Heaven says 3-1 empty netter. All right, I'm going to give my prediction. So get out of here. Go to UBS Arena.
4-3 Devils, Luke Hughes' number.
I was just about to say that.
Same?
Yeah, 4-3 Devils.
I said that too.
Yeah, but no, you said Islanders.
No, I said I thought I said Devils.
No, I thought you said Islanders, and I was like, oh,
I meant
reverse
Devils. No, I meant Devils.
Oh, okay.
But I did not do the Luke Hughes thing on purpose, so that's actually a funny coinky dink.
Okay. I say 4-3 Devils in overtime. Luke Hughes scores with 4.3 seconds left in overtime. There you go.
3-4 is going to become the new 6-7.
Yeah. Just in other news, Rangers lost their goalie to injury, Shesterkin. I don't have confirmation what it is, but it looks pretty bad from what I could tell the last I heard. And Fox.
And Shesterkin, injured reserve.
Wow. All right, well, I want to thank all those tuning in. I want to thank Danielle McCartan for organizing this trip, Danielle of WFAN. And all the fine folks here got Rangers Suck fortune cookies as well. So, and also, we're raffling off, coincidentally, a number 43 Luke Hughes helmet as well, very shortly. And if you want a Morning Woo mug, that's going to be raffled off here very shortly. Anyway, all right, so time to get out of here. They're about to do the raffle, Vinnie. I got to be listening in. I got to be listening in. Yeah. All right.
Good luck to everybody.
Thank you. Yep. Dropping the podcast probably when I get home. So probably by midnight. We're going to have Devils After Dark after the game. We're going to find out where we'll be. And also Art Heaton and Tom, they were actually on the Woo Jeep 1 to Jay Fallon's tap room. So anyway, all right. Anyway, getting out of here. Till next time, let's go Devils.